Have you also noticed how come Formula One teams always seem to improve from session to session, and even during the same session from lap to lap, especially in free practices and qualifying? Well, it's because they're not guessing, you know. They are using every single telemetry insight they can get to get faster and to pinpoint exactly what's slowing them down in real time. Like for real, they have proper teams of engineers, even back at the factory, not only at the racetrack, but back at the factory, you know, like Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, they all have their team of engineers that are looking at data real time and then giving back feedback to the team at the racetrack so they can basically improve the setup of the car during the session, even, you know, by tweaking the steering adjustments on the wheel, as well as, you know, driving inputs, driving tips, you know, braking a couple of meters later, picking up the gas a bit early, etc., etc. And guess what? Obviously, we don't have the same tools as them, but we still have the obligation, I would say, to spend enough time looking at data, getting insights. Obviously, we have limited amount of sensors and resources, obviously, to compare, to look at data as they do. But I believe that we can still find a unbelievably huge amount of insights from looking at data. And it's not just about, you know, setup tuning, you know, getting the right gear ratio, sprockets, carburation, water temperature, axle choice, etc. To me, it's mostly due to the driving improvements. You know, you can be the best driver in your category, best driver, and still win races, but you always be able to improve. There's always some tiny bit of improvements you can make. For example, back in the days, I used to be the fastest of my teammates when I was driving juniors and seniors, but there was always going to be 1-2 corners that they were doing better than me, even though my lap time was like, well, a couple of tenths faster than them. There would always be 1 or 2 corners they were like half a tenth or 1/10 faster than me. You know, even though the first reaction would be to, oh, but I'm quicker than them, you know, like cocky reaction would be, oh, why, you know, I'm faster, why should I look at the data? Which I believe, by the way, most fast drivers do. I think the humble driver that is able to understand, okay, data is so valuable that even if I am faster, there's always going to be 1 or 2 corners that I can learn from. That's the mindset I believe is the mindset that's required to be a champion and ideally get to Formula One. Because as I said, you can be the fastest on the track, you can be the fastest from the team, but there's always going to be 1 or 2 corners that you may have to improve. Out of 12 corners, 15 corners, there's always going to be 1 or 2 corners that you can improve. So make sure you spend enough time looking at data, refining your driving, and you'll see you're gonna get better and better, and your results are gonna thank you.